this is a very hectic situation happening right now. We're right at the corner of Canal and Elk, and I'm just going to go ahead and step out of the way and you'll see exactly what is going on. We know earlier this morning we were receiving word that the Hard Rock Hotel, or what was going to be the Hard Rock Hotel, was under construction, partially collapsed, and this is a very large building, so partially means that it was a huge portion of the building collapsed into the street. And we know that there were several injuries, as you mentioned there, Rob, and we've been on the scene here pretty much all morning, and it has been pretty much a madhouse.
We're at the intersection of Basin and Iberville. Right behind us, you can see it from a different vantage point of this building collapsing here. You can see several floors of concrete just gone over to the side here. And earlier, we were at UMC Hospital where we saw a number of construction crew individuals were there. The few folks we spoke with, they said they were okay and they were able to walk on their feet. Again, this is still very much a fluid situation, just trying to figure out exactly what happened today.
First responders, officials stressing to avoid that area at this time. We actually have an evacuation map right now. You're actually looking at some of the video right now from the scene just moments after this happened. This was from folks who were on a streetcar. They had to get to the back of the streetcar and then pour out. You can see that white smoke there that's just clouding up Rampart in that area, just right next to the Saenger. It's important to note that there were some major shows happening at the Saenger today with the Wicked performance. Those have been canceled for the rest of the day, and obviously they want folks to avoid that area. I believe we do have this map before we come back to you in just a moment, Josh. There is an evacuation map that Nola Reddy has tweeted out. You can see that red box there. That is the evacuation map. It says NOLA Fire Department is evacuating buildings in the red zone bounded by the uptown side of Bienville, riverside of Basin, downtown side of Canal, and lakeside of Burgundy. If you are in this area, evacuate now and listen to public safety officials. The orange area is closed off to traffic. Good afternoon, I'm Rob Krieger. We're covering breaking news today of a fatal hotel construction site collapse on Canal Street. One person died and 19 others were hurt just after 9 this morning when the Hard Rock Hotel site partially collapsed at the corner of Rampart Street and Canal Street. 3 people are unaccounted for at this time. Emergency officials are asking people to stay away from the area as there is a serious risk for further collapse. This is from Andres Bro. Take a look at this scene. You can see those floors there that have folded onto each other, just hanging there in the balance. Now, the fire chief has said that crane you see on the left, that yellow crane, has been detached from the building and is in danger of collapsing. You can see how those floors had fallen down, not just there onto the building itself, but down onto Rampart Street below. And you can even see some traffic there that was caught in the street.
We're just a few blocks from the scene itself. We're at the intersection of Bienville and Basin, up on someone's deck here. What you can see over our shoulders is just a different vantage point from this scene that happened this morning just shortly after 9 o'clock. Now, moments ago, we spoke with a construction crew worker who says he was inside the building. He was on the 14th floor. Now, they had several crews from the 11th floor up to the 14th floor just working on things. And he said at one moment he heard what sounded like a freight train. At that moment, he wasn't really sure what happened, but here's his reaction.
Like a pipe or something fell down, hit his shoulder, and when it hit his shoulder, once we seen him land there, we picked him up and carried him out of there. Yeah, so that what happened.
Is everyone in your group accounted for?
Yeah, everybody in our group is accounted for. We got 2 guys that's in the hospital, but they good. They're gonna be okay. Yeah. So.
How was it being in there? Describe what it was like inside.
Like a hurricane, like a tornado, I guess. Like, I don't know, it's like an earthquake, better yet, because the building was shaking. Everything was shaking. It was just like everything coming down around you. I ain't even know which way to run because the building falling. So which way do you go?
Rob, you were talking about them keeping an eye on that crane up there, and they really have literally just been watching it. I don't know if you can see any of these firefighters, but their eyes are literally to the sky. I spoke with city officials who tell me that there is another crane on its way from Baton Rouge, but because it is such a big piece of equipment, they've had to break it down. It's going to be one of those wide loads that they're going to have to transport in. No telling when it will be here, but we are expecting an update from the city shortly. And we do know that they have mentioned this current crane, as you said, Rob, is still unstable and leaning. It's a very slight lean, but it's enough to certainly put things in motion that could be very dangerous for those on the ground. And again, that is why there is such a broad evacuation area.
The folks who are working, living, around that area, have you seen them out there? What's the general feeling for those folks this afternoon?
Rob, unfortunately, I have seen them out here, and there have been tears. There have been folks who are just really affected by the dramatic scene that unfolded here earlier. And obviously, we heard from witnesses who were terrified.
Officials now worry that another collapse is possible. Right now, parts of this building are too unstable to search for the missing, but urban search and rescue crews are on the scene at this hour. Fox 8 has multiple news crews near the collapse, getting the very latest information for you. First, let's go live now to Catherine Mazzone with the latest live downtown. Catherine.
Liz, I'm still at Elk and Canal, where there has seemed to be a thinning of the emergency personnel, but that doesn't mean that they're not out here. There are a number, as you mentioned, of urban search and rescue personnel inside. I'm told that there are 25 specially trained individuals in there, along with 3 canines that are now looking for those individuals. And that first individual that we talked about, 2 again missing, one of them is accessible, and that's where those search and rescue folks are going to be headed. The other person, unfortunately, still unstable, and I'm told that they're not able to access that person at this time. For more on that, we turn to Tim McConnell. We have some sound from him.
The other individual is still believed to be in a location that is not stable, and we don't have the ability to get to him. There are engineers, owners of the crane, and other engineers from the city that are meeting currently to try and determine how do we make it safe in order to try and search for that individual and get to that individual.
Again, they are also working on making it structurally sound. We've talked about that yellow crane all day, how it's leaning and unstable, and we're told that there is another crane on the way. This one 275 feet in the air, the other one even bigger, on its way from Baton Rouge to help stabilize that crane. We have much more on this. I want to turn our attention now to Rob Krieger. He joins me now on scene.
Yeah, that's right, Catherine. We're actually talking about that crane throughout the day. Obviously, the one that is leaning into Rampart Street there. I was actually speaking with a few fire officials, asking them exactly how that crane is encapsulated within the building itself. I was told crews will often build that crane either in an elevator shaft or actually within the building itself. So it has, you can see the one on the right is still encased around with some of that siding, the concrete there, and the metal structure around it, but the other one there leaning outside. Because of that situation, because they have to bring in a large crane to try and stabilize that other one so they can take it down piece by piece because it weighs multiple tons, this is going to take some time. I can tell you right now, the EMS, fire, everyone out here has set up a really permanent site. We see these scenes from time to time, and this is probably one of the most permanent setups that I've seen in some time, where they actually have awnings and tents and whatnot set up. This area around Canal Street is shut down right now, and you can bet that it is going to be shut down for at least a few days as they try and get everything under control in this area. That means streetcars are going to be moved to different areas. They may not travel all the way down here. The bus terminal, right here at Elk, where those buses meet up. The RTA was speaking about it earlier today, saying that they are going to have to relocate that down Canal Street. So a lot of things are going to be adjusting.
Welcome back as we continue our coverage of breaking news. Dozens of people were forced to run from the scene after part of the Hard Rock Hotel collapsed near the French Quarter this morning. Josh Robertson spoke to some of those witnesses who say they fear for anyone caught in the chaos.
I was at the trolley stop by the church, and I heard some noise, I looked up the street. There was some trash falling from the building.
Witnesses who were near North Rampart and Canal when the building fell say they were shocked by what they saw.
I was coming out of church. I'm going to a funeral, And as I'm about to smoke me a Black and Mild, I seen, like, I heard, like, trash, like I said, it felt like, sound like it was falling down. But as I looked closely, and I realized it's more sounding than that, the next thing you know, I just realized the whole building, half of it started collapsing.
As authorities roped off the area, people began filming the devastation on their phones, not sure if everyone made it out okay. Eugene Jones witnessed the collapse firsthand and says he saw people inside the building before it fell.
Yeah, people are falling out literally as it's coming down. Yeah, green, orange, shirts and stuff on.
I'm sure somebody got hurt because the way that, it fell, it hit the line, the trolley lines.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I know it fell in the street,
Authorities reported over a dozen people were taken to the hospital after the collapse, and with the full count of injured still unknown, onlookers can do nothing but hope for the best.
Not expected. I don't wish bad on people and hope the best for them.
Josh Robertson, Fox 8, Local First.
Just incredible what's happening there. There were many people in the area when the building partially collapsed this morning. And take a look at this. This is video a witness shared with Fox 8 News moments after all of that dust settled. If you look closely, you will see a man wearing an orange shirt. He is stuck high up in all of that wreckage. Again, tragically, one person died, dozens of others injured, and 2 are still missing after this collapse. Officials now worry that another collapse is possible. Right now, parts of the building are just too unstable to search for the missing, but urban search and rescue crews are on the scene at this hour.
2 people are still missing after a building collapse on Canal.
City officials say that the Hard Rock Hotel was under construction when the top portion collapsed, killing 1 person. Catherine Mazzone is live at the scene.
This is 49-year-old stucco foreman Anthony McGretta and his wife Nova. Nova says he loves his job. She tells me he wasn't even scheduled to work today and was working overtime when he was caught in the building collapse. Nova says Anthony is a loving husband with 4 grown children and 5 granddaughters. Urban search and rescue crews stopped their search today after 2 attempts. A search and rescue volunteer tells us they're unable to go back into the building until it's been stabilized. That's going to require another crane, which I'm told is being escorted from Baton Rouge to come in. It could be here as soon as tonight, but officials say this whole ordeal is going to take some time to remedy.
Really need the public. We appreciate the support that has come down here from restaurants and things for our first responders. We just remember we have first responders going into a very dangerous building right now, trying to do their job. Please keep them in your thoughts, and just please pay attention to what we're doing down here, because this is going to be an issue that's going to last for a while.
Family members have been here all day keeping vigil for Tony. Nova, his wife, tells me he was last seen on the 9th or 10th floor, according to witnesses. Problem is, officials say the building is only stable up to the 8th floor. Officials tell us this thing started, the collapse actually happened on the 6th to 8th floors just after 9 o'clock this morning. We will continue to update you with any information as it becomes available.
Construction workers inside the building say that it sounded like a freight train.
One of them told Real Juan Balogan they didn't realize what happened until the ceiling collapsed above them.
Like a hurricane, like a tornado, I guess. Like, I don't know, it's like an earthquake.
David Jones describes what it was like inside the Hard Rock Hotel.
Sound like a freight train or something, man.
The construction worker says crew members were on every floor when the partial collapse happened.
So as I'm working, I looked up and I was like, so I go to walk to the edge. Once I seen to the edge, seen the ceiling fall, and then I backed up with the running, and my, instincts get out of there.
Before he could get out,
the building was shaking. Everything was shaking. It was just like, everything coming down around you. I didn't even know which way to run because the building falling. So which way do you go?
Jones says his immediate instinct was to run. Before he could move, he noticed one of his co-workers was injured.
Like a pipe or something fell down, hit his shoulder. And, when it hit his shoulder, once we seen him laying there, we picked him up and then carried him out of there.
With one worker on his arm, Jones says he jumped to the next floor, ran to the scaffolding, and started climbing down.
See the ground falling. It's like a movie, man. You seen the ground falling, and I seen the ceiling collapse down.
Everything just started falling around. That's from the 15th floor on, from the roof, I'm guessing, on down. That's all. Everything else is me just trying to get her from out of there.
When they made it to the ground, Jones says 2 members of his team were taken to the hospital with minor injuries.
I seen like little cranes, flip over forklifts, but this right here, first time.
Jones is trying to gather his thoughts, but is thinking of the other crew members.
I go home and spend time with my kids, because I'm grateful to be here, you know.
Robon Balogun, Fox 8, Local First.